Hello, everybody.
Hello, Rachel.
Hey, Rachel.
Hello. So to start, I was gonna ask everybody because I love the different use of cameras in this movie and how you get to see all these different kind of styles and angles. So both from the creation and writing process and direction into you guys physically having the cameras on your own, what for you guys was the most fun about getting to mix all of those styles and looks together in a movie like Man Finds State?
That's a really good question. I'll take my first part of it was I had a lot of fun trying to write it from the angle of because we wanted to always have a justification for what was filming when because one problem or speed bump that found footage movies can run into is like, oh well, why would the characters have this footage or why would they still be filming? Like no real person would react this way in this moment. And so we tried to be very, very thoughtful about justifying where sources of the footage would come from. So figuring all of that out ahead of time, I actually really liked the puzzle of it. It sucked. It's hard to do. I don't recommend it, but I actually had a lot of fun. I think Paul and I at that stage. And it made for the script at the end of the day, the script was kind of unwieldy to read. I'm surprised that so many people got into it because we gave way more description of cameras and setups and whatnot than you would normally give in a script. But just sort of conceptualizing that I thought was a lot of fun.
How about maybe some of the actors want to chime in about using them?
Yeah, what was it like using all the like different cameras and getting to work within those styles?
I thought it was fun. I mean, it made me get into character more because in the film, my character Lynn, she's actually like a documentarian and she's kind of more of a journalist, and so it really was able to put me in the scenario. And Peter and Paul were so great about having those conversations about us about like motivation of like where would you walk here, and they were super open to our interpretations as well. It made it very legitimate and probably the most method that I've gone in a film just because I felt like we all were really in it because like earlier they were saying we didn't have the usual camera crew like the grip in the back holding up a C stand, like everything was lit very um
Like
realistic.
360.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah, I
I
think. Oh, go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say for Kelsey had a really great moment with her and William. This sort of speaks to the camera thing, where we had written that they enter the church from the front, and then they're looking for Endicott, and then they go out a back door, and we were blocking it, and then we went to go shoot it, and Kelsey was like, "Well, there's a bunch of people in here, and it'd be very awkward for me to go as far into this space as that back door. Can we?" Turn around and go back out. And it's a moment where they are filming, and I don't know that you necessarily would have had that thought or that reaction if we were shooting this film in a different style, because you can cheat that distance with editing. You can cut into a closer shot. You can do other things to like sort of compress that space. But when you're seeing and feeling the whole thing and letting it play out almost like a stage play, it is kind of weird when two people walk all the way through this giant distance with all these people judging them. So I remember thinking on the day that that was a cool like, oh yeah, of course that makes sense. You wouldn't do that in real life.
I think
Yeah.
there's just something great about there's like nothing like having a high eight camera pointed at you to make you feel like you're making movies with friends because that's like the first thing I ever made a movie on. Uh, and I wasn't operating the camera on this obviously, but there's just something very intimate about it. There's something very kind of like, yeah, we're making movies about and I have operated on other found footage movies, and you get to infuse performance into the cinematography, like with how you zoom, where you swing, like you can infuse a lot of character, and I think that comes through. Um, and yeah, I don't know, I just love those old tape cameras.
I think one of my favorite parts of the movie is when Brian bends over and looks right into the camera, and he's like, I think he yells, "Film this," or he says, "Pick up that fucking," pardon my French, "pick up that effing camera." And like, I love
Really
how,
like cameras.
yeah, right. And I think it's interesting that most of the time actors are kind of being trained to forget the camera's there, but in this story, these people have no choice but to acknowledge them, and people act differently on camera when they know they're being filmed than they do just out in the wild. So like you're adding that layer of like I'm acting natural, but also aware that I'm being filmed at the same time. So that was a very, I think, fun, immersive way to get to play with a character where you know you're being filmed, and so you're putting on a performance as that character. I don't know. I just thought that was a unique experience.
Yeah, it was very freeing to not have to worry about being aware of the camera because our characters are aware of the cameras. We didn't have to worry about not spiking the lens, like be looking at the cameras because we know that they're there, and also having a different relationship to each camera. Like, Lynn's documentary camera is very different from an iPhone camera, is very different from a GoPro security camera. So like it was cool to get to interact with the cameras as our characters too.
Okay, sorry, I couldn't find the unmute button. And I wanted to ask you guys too, because this movie with a lot of no's for me. Like, not only like seeing a bunch of tapes, I'm like, absolutely not. Like, I don't want to know what they are. But it's the found footage of it all. It's the religious aspects. It's like there's a lot that I would like, no, just leave. What are we doing? So I wanted to know for all of you, what are those no's? Like when you see a horror movie and someone does something that you're like, no, why are we doing this? This is a horrible, horrible idea.
Have you seen Take Her Back or Bring Her Back?
Mm-hmm.
When she bites anything with teeth, like teeth breaking. Whoo! I can't even. Ooh, that's a no. I'm a horror movie fan, and that is anytime stuff like that or like fingernails comes into play, I'm out, dude.
Peter and I like writing the stuff that makes us feel uncomfortable. So for me, like body horror and insects and holes in bodies and things like that are very uncomfortable for me to look at. And so I think our kind of theory was like, well, if it's uncomfortable for us, it'll be uncomfortable for other people. So
Yeah. There's this one checks a lot of those boxes that I kind of like forgot were boxes. Like, yeah, there are, yeah, I don't know how much we're allowed to spoil, but yeah, like there's a let's say insectoid element to this that I'm like, I don't want that ever. And then yeah, I want to say pointillism. What is it? We talked about it. What's the
tryptophobia.
Tryptophobia. Yeah. That is again, like I feel like the first time I heard of it, I was like, what is that? And then I was like, oh, I have it. Immediately, like as soon as I saw it, I was like, I have it right now. I have it now. I didn't know it existed. Now I have it and it's full blown and it sucks. So yeah, yeah, this hits those marks. Good job, guys.
One of my favorite like no don't do that things in horror movies is, and I didn't realize we were doing it until kind of right now, is when people pull things out of their body. I'm a huge fan of The Ruins. I don't know if you've ever seen The Ruins about the killer vines. It's a great book and it's a really great movie, and I highly recommend it to everybody. And it has this thing where it's like vines start growing inside of people and you see them squirming around. And it's like, well, obviously that shouldn't be in the body. It needs to get out of the body. But then as they start to remove it, you're like, no, what are you doing? Leave it alone. Like, and so I think we have a similar goal in ours where it's like, well, obviously this thing shouldn't be in the body, but just leave it in the body. Like don't mess with it. It's not hurting anybody. So I like that contradiction of like, well, you gotta take it out, but it's gonna suck when you take it out.
I did not realize The Ruins was about killer vines. I
Oh,
remember that movie, but I didn't know it was like a Poison Ivy from Batman situation. That's cool.
it is a masterpiece.
Yeah. If I could piggyback off that, yeah, plant horror is like a big bugaboo for me. Is like plant horror.
Really?
I think when I was a kid, I saw like the scene in Troll 2 where Sonny Bono turns into a plant, or like the scene from Creepshow where Stephen King turns into a plant, and something about it just completely freaked me out in a way that like nothing else has. So anything that's like plant based is a little tough for me. And then real world cannibals. Movie cannibals sometimes brush up on the horror of real world cannibals, but when you read about like somebody that's an actual cannibal, it's so off putting that my brain can't like it can't deal. So those are like my two big ones.
I need to toss. Is this? You mentioned Creepshow. I can't remember. I don't know if this is Creepshow, but when I was a kid, I was flipping through channels and I saw like a behind the scenes like special effects kind of featurette, And there was this scene, they just were going through stuff, and there was this dude who's like, it was just a quick shot of a dude's stomach opened up and there were just maggots spilling out of it, which is the worst thing that I've ever said or seen. And ever since then, I think that's where that trigger comes from. Does that sound familiar? Is that Creepshow? Does anyone know who knows horror movies?
There are roaches in Creepshow. There's no
Yeah,
maggots.
okay, there's the roaches. Yeah.
There's a guy full of roaches.
It just was like, it was like blah, blah, blah. And I think I asked my mom, I was like, that's gross. And she's like, those things are real. That's baby flies. And I was like, that's the worst thing I've ever heard. Yeah.
Well, this reminded me, Peter, I don't know if you've seen The Running Man yet, but Lee Pace takes like a glass out of his eye at one point, and I was like, nope, I'm good actually. I don't, no, thank you.
I haven't yet, but that's a great example of one of those things
There's
like you
just,
gotta take it out, but no, don't take it out.
I'm like, you can just leave it, it's fine. Don't worry about it. Well, thank you guys for talking with me. I really appreciate it. I can't wait for everyone who has not yet seen Man Finds Tape to get to see it.
Thank you so much.
Very much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Appreciate it.